Hello and welcome. Today we're diving into a topic that honestly trips up so many of us here in the UK. What is the actual difference between tax avoidance and tax evasion? It's a fine line, but getting it right is absolutely critical. That's why the experts at Pro Tax Accountant have put this discussion together to help make it all crystal clear.
So picture this. It's late, you're looking at your accounts, and you're thinking about a deduction. Is it a clever, savvy financial move, or is it something that could get you into some serious trouble with HMRC? We've all been there, right? That little moment of doubt is exactly what we're going to unpack today. All right, let's just cut straight to the chase. The fundamental difference is actually pretty simple. Tax avoidance is about legally using the tax rules to your advantage, often in ways the government actually intended. Think of it as playing by the rules. Tax evasion, on the other hand, is always illegal. It's about deliberately deceiving HMRC to pay less tax. One is using the system, the other is cheating it.
Now, when we talk about tax avoidance, it's really all about smart strategy. You know, when you put money into an ISA to let it grow tax-free, or when you contribute to your pension to lower your taxable income for the year. That's tax avoidance. These are totally legitimate tools that are built right into the system for you to use. You're not breaking the rules, you're just playing the game well.
Evasion, though, that's a whole different ballgame. This is where you step way over the legal line. We're talking about things like not declaring the cash you made on a side job, or worse, actively faking your records to make your tax bill smaller. The key word here is deceit. It's dishonest, it's illegal, and yeah, it comes with some very serious consequences.
So why is this distinction so incredibly important? Well, take a look at this number, 30 billion pounds. That's the UK's estimated tax gap. It's the difference between the tax that should have been paid and what HMRC actually got. It's a massive figure, and it shows you just how much is at stake for the country's public services.
And if we break that huge number down, it gets even more interesting. You can see here that about £5 billion of that gap comes from straight-up illegal tax evasion. But look at this other chunk. £700 million is from tax avoidance schemes that HMRC is actively fighting. This tells you that even if something is technically legal, if it's too aggressive or abusive, HMRC is definitely coming after it.
And that brings us to a really crucial point. Just because something is technically legal doesn't mean it's okay. The law has to draw a line somewhere. And in the UK, that line is often drawn by something called the General Anti-Abuse Rule, or GARR for short.
So what exactly is the GAR? Well, you can think of it as HMRC's ultimate power tool. It lets them challenge and shut down tax schemes that, even if they follow the letter of the law, completely go against the spirit of it. Basically, if a scheme is super artificial and its only real purpose is to slash your tax bill, GAR gives HMRC the power to say, nope, not happening.
And believe me, this isn't just theory. Look at this real-world case. A property developer set up this really complex web of trusts. On paper, maybe it looked clever, but HMRC saw it for what it was, an abusive setup designed purely to dodge tax. They used the GAR, and the result was a staggering £150,000 bill for back taxes. It just goes to show, pushing the limits can be a very expensive mistake.
Okay, so with powerful rules like GAR out there, it's never been more important to make sure your own affairs are in order. So let's shift gears a bit. How can you, personally, make sure you're staying on the right side of that line? Well, it all starts with knowing the tax bands that apply to you for the 2025 to 26 tax year.
For most of us in England, Wales, and Northern Ireland, this is what it looks like. Your personal allowance, that's what you can earn completely tax-free, is frozen at £12,570. Anything you earn above that falls into the basic, higher, or additional rates. Knowing where these thresholds are is step one to getting your tax right.
Now, if you're a taxpayer living in Scotland, listen up, because your setup is quite a bit more complex. Scotland has its own distinct system with 6 different tax bands starting from a 19% starter rate and going all the way up to a 48% top rate. With this many tiers, it's especially important for Scottish residents to be careful and make sure they're paying the right amount.
So, how can you double-check everything? Here's a really simple, actionable checklist. First, log into your personal tax account on the gov.uk website. It's super easy. Once you're in, you can check that your tax code is correct, see how your income stacks up against the bands we just talked about, and spot any potential under- or overpayments. Think of it as a quick financial health check.
All right, we've covered a lot of ground here, from the legal definitions to the real numbers on your tax return. So, let's boil it all down. What is the one thing you need to remember to stay on the right side of the law?
Here it is. Avoidance is legal financial planning, but it's not a free-for-all. It has limits, and they're policed by that GAR rule. Evasion is illegal deceit. Full stop. To keep yourself safe, always check your tax code, be aware of your regional tax bands, and, this is the big one, disclose all of your income. Honesty and transparency are your absolute best friends here.
In the end, that line between avoidance and evasion really comes down to intent. Are you strategically using the rules as they were designed, or are you trying to bend them until they break? When your finances are simple, the answer is usually obvious, but as things get more complex, that line can start to look a little blurry. If you want real confidence and peace of mind, getting an expert to look things over is probably the smartest thing you can do, and that's where a team like ProTax Accountant comes in. So the real question is, are you sure you know which side of the line you're on?